Hello and welcome to the Race to Speak Up podcast. I'm your host, Devin Moore. Today's guest is Zhanyia McCullough. At only 16 years of age, Zhanyia wears her confidence well. She is an entrepreneur, beauty formulator, author, and influencer. Zhanyia is the CEO and beauty formulator of Islande Beauty, a beauty brand that formulates unique hair care products that grow and strengthen hair. Islande Beauty is a company committed to the empowerment of girls through education and healthy hair care. Zhanyia is also a best-selling author. She has published 3 inspiring and engaging books: The Science Behind It, Volume 1, The Science Behind It, Formulating Success While Impacting the World, and her best-selling children's book, Wash Day, Fun Day. Zhanyia hopes to inspire and teach girls that they have what it takes to make something truly exceptional of themselves. Welcome, Zhanyia. How are you doing today?
Okay, first, I want to say thank you for having me on the show and your podcast, but I'm doing pretty well today.
Awesome. Well, thank you again for joining me. Why don't you tell us about...
So Islande Beauty is a company that specializes in creating hair care products that contain natural and organic ingredients. I started the brand, I actually had the idea for the brand when I was around 12 years old, but I actually started it when I was 13. And the reason that I started was because I had issues with my own hair and the growth of my own hair, and I didn't like the rate that my hair was growing at. And I would always wonder, why doesn't my hair look like my sister's or my mom? And it kind of made me self-conscious. So instead of, of course, dwelling on the situation, I decided to take it into my own hands and start creating products to not only help myself, but to help other young women and girls that are going through the same issue.
So were you always taught to love your natural hair?
Yes, for the most part. And I'm kind of fortunate to have a household like that, it was kind of, I guess, implemented that, you should take care of your natural hair and wear it with confidence. I know that some of my family, they personally struggled with wearing their natural hair and being confident with it because of the negative stereotypes and things said about natural hair, especially tight, curly, kinky hair. But for my household, I was pretty taught, take care of your natural hair and to love it and to wear it. So, yes.
Okay. Well, I mean, honestly, it's really good to be in that environment where you can, embrace and love your natural hair and, work through certain things that may be like stunting growth or, things like that. It's very cool how you were able to create your own hair care line, honestly. I love that. So now, what does your day look like running Islande Beauty?
My day, well, of course, for Islande Beauty, I am the CEO and beauty formulator. But what I mainly do is the beauty formulator part. So I research whenever we're doing products, I research the ingredients of the product, where they came from, their benefits. So I do mostly that part of it, and I also do the actual creation part. But with that too, I don't work by myself totally because I am, again, still young. But I do work with a cosmetic chemist, and she helps to assist me with the formulas of the products. So we work kind of together with that whole process. But for the main part, I just do the research part, the creation, production, and I also help out with the social media.
Wait, so how long did it take for you to come up with the perfect ingredients for your hair care products?
Well, again, I had the idea since I was 12, so the whole process took about a full year because I had to do the research on the ingredients that I wanted to use, why I wanted to use them, the benefits. And another thing too was at the time when we launched this, hair growth oils were very popular back then. So, and I didn't want to use the same ingredients as, I don't want to use the same ingredients as a lot of other companies since they use common oils like castor oil or olive oil and this. I wanted to be different, which is why I use Prakashi oil and Kalahari melon oil. So that whole process took a while with the research. Then I had to actually get the things, get them here, to get the equipment. Then I had to do trials. And once I got it, the formula down pack, I still had to test it. So I sent them out to a group of family and friends, and they tested it for about 3 months. And they gave me all their feedback. And that's when I knew that it was perfect and that I could launch it.
I know for me, like I love my natural hair and like, so how is it important to speak up about loving your brown skin and hair?
I feel like it is very important because, especially in today's society, there are so many negative things being said about your hair that, oh, your hair is nappy or you shouldn't wear it, it's ugly, it's unprofessional, when that's the complete opposite. There are some people who would love to have curly hair or love to have kinky hair. But even so, that doesn't necessarily matter. You should love it yourself. The love should come within yourself rather from other people. Who cares if they say that, it looks bad or it looks terrible? If you love it and you know that you love it, then that's all that matters. So I feel like it's always very important to teach people that, especially young Black girls, that their hair is beautiful and that they should embrace it.
That's very important. And we have all these things, like I know there's a lot of different like jobs, especially. I don't really know if you've ever come across this, but like when it comes to especially in certain jobs, Black women aren't allowed to wear their natural hair, which is just extremely alarming because just Black people in general, it's a part of who we are. We should be able to embrace that. And so I, we need people like you who are able to really educate others and allow and help in allowing them to embrace their natural hair. And so, like I said, people of color were not always able to really embrace their natural hair just because of societal obstacles and things like that. So I think the question is just like, why should we own our beauty?
Why should we own our beauty? I get this. That's the first time actually somebody asked me that. But I feel like though we should own our beauty because self-love is very important. And I know myself, I have struggled with this a lot. And sometimes I still do struggle with it, especially when you're in that teen phase. But I feel like though it is important to own your beauty because, self-love. Um, it doesn't, you don't need to go searching for love out and within others or acceptance out of other people. Because at the end of the day, their opinions don't really matter. It's yours that do. So you should be the one to love yourself and you should own your beauty because it makes you feel better overall too. Makes you feel better, you do better. And I just feel as though self-love is very important and it should be practiced every day for everyone. No matter what insecurities you may have or what obstacles you may face, you should love yourself and be confident in yourself at the end of the day.
Yeah, loving yourself is extremely important and loving as much of yourself, which includes your beautiful Black, kinky, curly, or even loose hair, and embracing your beautiful melanin or whatever skin color you are, that's extremely important when it comes to self-love. And so now I kind of want to shift the topic to your books. Why don't you tell us more about your books? And I kind of really want to start off with Wash Day Fun Day. So why don't you tell us about that?
So that was a book. That was my most recent book that came out. And I wrote that along with somebody else. They helped me to write it. But where the inspiration came from was, in the past, I have written books, but those were more about my entrepreneurship journey and how I got to where I am today. But I wanted to do a book to highlight, the whole wash day routine. So in the book, it takes you through 10-year-old Naya through her whole wash day routine from the shampoo to the conditioner to the moisturizing, styling, all that. So I, I felt like it was very important to learn, how to have your own wash day routine, especially for those that are unfortunate to live in a household where they aren't taught to take care of the natural hair or to love it. So that is part of the reason as to why I wrote it. And honestly, it was very fun because, it's a children's book. It's cute. The drawings are nice. There was activities in it also. So I feel as though it was important for people to know that. And then you can also learn other things in the book as far as like why it's important to have a routine and also self-love, self-acceptance, self-confidence, and also you also get to learn how to take care of your natural hair.
That's
So it's
awesome.
educational too.
Yeah, very educational. That's perfect, especially when you're young, and you really need a young Black person or young Black girls really need to kind of learn how to just do their natural hair and with that empowerment and education. And so why don't you tell us about your other books? Because I know you were saying it's dealing a lot with like your journey from like through entrepreneurship.
Yes. So I wrote those a little while ago, not too long ago. But as far as like for the science behind it, because I was in the first volume and also the second volume. For the first volume, that followed more as to it had it also had a more interview style type of questionnaire. So it asked me, when did I start? Why was I inspired to start? What type of advice would I give to young entrepreneurs? So that kind of went through my whole entrepreneurial journey and also to where I am now. Then as far as the second volume, that was written more to see like how I was able to become successful. So what I did and how I did it, and also the whole process of me, you know, and how I also juggle with other things in my life. So school, social life, activities, and entrepreneurship, of course. So both do follow more of my entrepreneur lifestyle and also my beauty formulator lifestyle.
And I know you're very definitely a very busy student. And so why don't we talk about your school life? What grade are you in?
I'm in 11th grade.
Okay. What do your classmates say to you? Because what you're doing is very impressive. So what do your classmates say to you about your work?
Well, currently, I recently actually switched to homeschool because I feel like it was better for me and I also work a lot better. I worked a lot better independently. And I also saw that when I was homeschool, I had time to do other things like entrepreneurship and activities and traveling. But prior to when I was in the, regular school setting, um, my classmates, actually, a lot of them didn't even know, or even my friends. It took me a little while for me to tell them. And it's not that I was necessarily scared or anything. It was just like, I felt like some people wouldn't understand per se because, you're a teenager. They're like, you should go out with your friends, go to concerts, go to parties, go to football games. That's the norm. And of course, I do all those things, but also I do things that most teenagers don't. But for the most part, they didn't know. But when I did tell them, they were very supportive. And especially with my dance school that I attended, they were also too, and also my school.
Yeah, I definitely can relate to that. It kind of did also take me some time to really explain. Well, first I kind of because I did go to a new school in ninth grade, and ninth grade was really when I was doing my things were starting to be up and running with my organization and things just kept adding on and adding on. But like regardless, in ninth grade, I wasn't so fast to tell my classmates only because I was trying to figure things out in that new school and in that new environment. And just kind of like it's hard to explain to your peers because like you said, we do these normal things like hang out with friends, but we also do other things. Like with me, talking on different speaking engagements about anti-bullying or speaking in front of youth about the importance of being upstanders, things like that. And so I think it's kind of funny how we have a whole nother aspect to our lives and we're helping others do that, like how you're helping others through hair care and empowering them. But it's definitely a journey when it comes to school. It's definitely a journey.
Definitely.
So what do you do in your downtime?
Mm, well, I do a lot of stuff actually. I have a lot of interests, but for the most part, I also do dance. That's a really big interest and passion of mine and has always been since I was a kid. So I do dancing. I like to read. I also like to do creative writing, hence, why I'm an author. So, and another thing, I like to hang out with my friends a lot because, it's always cool to have them around. And besides like generic, listening to music, hanging out with friends. And also I play games from time to time because I'm bored.
Okay, cool, cool. I know for me, I just like to write poetry a lot. I think that's kind of like encompassing work because I do a lot of writing for work, but it's kind of like fine for me because that's also in my downtime, just kind of encompassing or like bringing together everything. And then yeah, I just also work. I kind of just hang out with my friends, so I completely get that teenage side of it. So what are your career goals?
Career goals. So I do want to continue down this entrepreneur route and down the beauty formulator route, but I still want to be in the hair care industry. I do know that, but another thing that I do want to do is I want to attend cosmetology school, which I am going to attend in the upcoming school year. So I want to go to cosmetology school so I can get my license, and then I actually want to do hair. So also have my hair care products and also offer services as a hairstylist. And I do also plan on going to college when the time comes. And I want to major in public relations. I know that. And I feel as though that could also help me a lot with all of my businesses and things that I also do. So that's where I'm really at for the most part. So it's kind of, it may seem like a lot since it's entrepreneur, author, beauty formulator, hairstylist, but it all comes together. And I feel as though all those things kind of intertwine with each other. And the stuff that I learned from doing those things has helped me to improve. So as far as like communications, that can help me with my business and get relationships with other companies. So I do feel as though, yeah, it may be a lot, but they all help me. And that's where I feel like my passion lies.
Oh, that's beautiful. You really are able to bring all these things together. And, so I'm very excited to see your journey moving forward. So I guess my next question for you is just what's been the most rewarding part of your journey?
Hmm. I think the impact. Everybody's like, oh yeah, you're an entrepreneur, like you make money. Like, yes, I make money. Like that's, of course that's a good part. But I feel like another thing that's important too is the impact. And honestly, looking when I first started, I didn't really think I made a big impact on people. I was just like, yeah, I have a business, it's fine, it's whatever type of thing. But then I remember the first time when I realized I was speaking somewhere and it was a STEM event for young girls. And I spoke on a panel for 5 minutes. Then we had a questionnaire part. So we would go into breakout rooms and we would have to, the kids would ask us questions. And this one girl was like, I want to be like you and do what you do. I was like, oh, like that's really nice. Like, what do you want to do? And she was saying, well, I want to do what you do, but just do it with lip gloss and stuff. And that seeing me talk about my journey inspired her to make her believe, like, oh, I could be like her. She was just a normal kid, but she was able to do all this stuff. So I can be able to do it. So I feel as though that was one of the most rewarding parts was knowing that I instill confidence and inspiration to younger kids to follow their dreams and to follow their passions, especially when it comes to what's not considered the norm. So like entrepreneurship and the beauty industry. So I feel like that was the most rewarding part.
I love that. And then also that story. I really love that story too. But yeah, the impact is definitely a major part. And the good work that, like you and I, like young people do and like can do. And then just I feel like you would probably relate to like that warmth you get after like speaking somewhere or like having someone just coming up to you and say, you really inspire me. And of course, it's just like I'm happy that I'm making that difference in someone's life because it's a positive change. It'll aid in them moving forward and to even like them feeling better and them feeling happier with themselves. So I really love that. And I know you really kind of talked about this earlier in like different aspects, but I kind of want you to sum this part up. What are your hopes and dreams moving forward with Islande Beauty?
Islamic beauty. So I do know in the upcoming year, so of course for Islamic beauty, well, I'm not sure if you know, but there's only one product on there, and that's the hair growth oil. But there's going to be more products coming in the future. So I definitely do want to finish this line in the upcoming year. If not later this year, then definitely next year. So I can later expand. But one of my biggest goals that I personally want is I wanted to get in stores like Target, Walmart. I especially wanted to get to Sally Beauty because I go there a lot to go get hair care products. And, it's kind of just like my place. And that's why I feel like one of my biggest goals with Islande Beauty is to get to that point, to be able to get into stores and to also expand my reach. And I also want to grow a community so where we can talk about natural hair struggles, like help each other out, like, give tips or, just connect with your supporters and to help them throughout their whole natural hair journey.
Cool. Well, thank you for joining me today. This has been a really good conversation.
You're welcome. I'm so happy and I want to thank you for having me on the platform, of course.
Do you want to share your website and social media?
Okay, so you can find, so my website is islandebeauty.com and there's also social media located on there, but of course we are on all social media handles at Islande Beauty, and you can find me personally on all social media platforms at Zhanyia Inspires.
Awesome. Well, thank you again for showing how you race to speak up and in your community. And thank you to everyone listening. I hope to see you guys at future Race to Speak Up podcasts. If you have any questions about the Race to Speak Up podcast, feel free to contact me at racetospeakup@gmail.com. Make sure to check out my website, www.racetospeakup.com, and then follow my social media, all at Race to Speak Up on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter for updates on future podcasts and all of my other events. Join the Humanity Rising movement. Humanity Rising offers scholarships for students making a difference in the world through service. Visit www.humanityrising.org for more information. Remember to ask yourself this question: how do you race to speak up?